Yeah, well, Paul, I heard y'all. I was listening to y'all the other day, and on 9/11, and you were going through and asking a lot of different guests about their memories, and I appreciated that because 9/11 is what inspired me to join. I watched it all happen and went home that day. I was a senior in high school, and I called my girlfriend and now my wife and said, "I'm going to join the Marine Corps," and she said, "Just go for it." She was totally supportive of it. And, I got in and deployed, but there were a lot of guys in that had the same story. And you could really tell those guys, they wanted to be there. And you got to remember, too, that we didn't have a draft for Afghanistan or Iraq. It was an all-volunteer situation. And, people forget, too, but right after 9/11, America was really gripped with fear of another large-scale terrorist attack.
Yes.
We worried about it constantly. We saw, color-coded terrorist threat advisories on our TVs every night, and none of that came to pass because, thousands and thousands of young Americans volunteered when nobody asked them to. Most of their peers didn't do it, and they went over and fought the enemy overseas. And so, I was reflecting on that on 9/11 and kind of thinking what it means today. And one of the things I'm excited to see is that generation of post 9/11 veterans are really kind of coming of age now, both, they're leaders in business and politics and all that. And you can think of, Dan Crenshaw or Ron DeSantis or, lots of other people like that. And I think that they are going to be able to offer something that a lot of Americans probably are looking for right now and want to see. And in my mind, what that is kind of in this age of victimhood mentality that's really kind of overtaken America. I think post 9/11 veterans really offer the opposite of that, an attitude of responsibility, because those guys, and gals who joined up, by definition, are people who know what kind of world they want to live in and see the responsibility to go and make the world they want it to be. And they had the experiences in Iraq and Afghanistan of learning that life isn't fair and getting injured and all of that. And so I think they just have a totally different perspective.
Let me say this as far as cultivating patriotism. If you're forced to, there's no better way to be forced to get that and understand what's going on than the mandatory draft. And if we continue as we are now in a very dangerous world with recruiting just absolutely abysmal, I can see in the foreseeable future that some modicum of that could possibly happen. For a lot of people who don't know this, Aaron Rice, my guest this morning, director of the Justice Institute, you were involved in an IED.
That's right.
And lost a leg. You've got a prosthetic leg.
I absolutely do. Hit an anti-tank landmine in Iraq in March.
How long were you there before that happened?
I was there, just at a month. We came into a really heavy. Honestly, Paul, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but my battalion wound up losing more Marines in one deployment than any Marine battalion in Iraq and Afghanistan during that whole 20-year engagement. We got hit hard, and so we came in and immediately were just in really heavy fighting, and within a month I was injured and out of the country. And then, but that wasn't even the hard part. A lot of my friends died after I got injured, and that was the hard part, was being gone and feeling like I had let them down and I couldn't do anything to help them.
Suicide rate there,
it's been
prevalent.
Tough. It's been tough. I've got a lot of friends, Paul, who have struggled with that, and I feel blessed that that I really haven't, to the extent a lot of people have. But I've learned a lot from it, and my takeaway has always been, yes, there are guys who struggle with all of that. I think human beings are really resilient, and I've seen so many of us who fought overseas go through horrific things, see horrific things, and come out the other side of it and be productive citizens who have a lot to offer our country. And so my takeaway is, yes, you've got, post-traumatic, stress that can happen, but you've also got post-traumatic growth that can happen, and people forget that. And I'd say that by far and away, that's what I see that most veterans have, is they come back and they're a better man or better woman, better husband, better father. And so, and then for those of us that, for those who struggle, they've got their veteran buddies to help them through it.
You are an